What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome back to another edition of the Transfer View Pitch Punch final day of the month. Indeed, it is, isn't it? It is Friday, the 31st of January. Just a few days left. Just a few days left of the transfer window. It shuts on Monday, the 3rd of Feb. And is anything going to happen when it comes to Manchester United? Are we going to see a move from Mathys Tel? Well, we're going to see a move, we would think, from him from Bayern Munich, but where is he going to go? Is he going to go to Spurs? Is he going to go to Chelsea? Is he going to go to Manchester United? If he does go to Manchester United, it might just be on a loan, and will Bayern go for that, considering they've agreed a fee with Spurs for the player? We'll let you know about that. Also, a bit of an update this morning. This is, I suppose, probably a little bit of a teaser. We've been down this road before, haven't we? We spoke about this the other day, talking about how, guys, we need to come together, hold hands, close our eyes, manifest a Casemiro move. I said at the time to the Saudi Pro League, but according to Florian Plettenberg this morning, maybe, just maybe, he could be on his way to Italy. We'll let you know about that. Also, we'll be chatting about Garnacho and Mainoo in the 10. Of course, lots of people talking about the victory last night in the Europa League, Manchester United qualifying automatically for the knockout stage. The only team across the Champions League and the Europa League undefeated. It's one of those ones, isn't it, where you go, wow, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. But still, it was a positive performance last night. It was a positive result, certainly. One of the better performances, actually, really, under Ruben Amorim, I would certainly say. So we'll be chatting about that. We'll be chatting about, obviously, his comments about Garnacho and Mainoo being in the 10. Is that the position for him moving forward? Will we see Garnacho in the 10 once again this weekend against Crystal Palace? So there's so much to get into. Click the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Already, we've got people flying through the door. We're already close to 100 likes. Got 93 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button and be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right-hand corner. First super chat of the day from Joe says, the FA has launched a plan to get more British Asians into football. For so many Asian football fans in England, what is the reason for so few Asians playing in the Premier League or the England national team? Well, I would suggest probably that's why the FA launching a plan for it. Like with lots of things, it's probably not a very one answer kind of solution, is it really? It's probably a case of opportunity, cultural, societal, and hopefully in the future there is greater representation, I would assume. But that's probably why, again, they're doing the plan. So, yes. Right, let's move on to Mathys Tel. Let's talk about this, because this feels like, like every week or so, it feels like, doesn't it, that there's this one story that dominates, this one player that, dominates. Like last week it was Garnacho. Garnacho's going to go. Garnacho's going to leave. He's going to go to Chelsea, or he's going to go to Napoli. He's going to do this, and then suddenly goes quite quiet. Well, over the last few days, certainly Mathys Tel, that's been the one, hasn't it? That's been the one that seemingly has just exploded into life. He says he wants to leave Bayern Munich, and then suddenly a host of clubs in the Premier League, a host of clubs across Europe are interested, and it's just a case of where is he going to go? Well, when it pertains to Manchester United, we know that we're interested, and I know interested FC. That's how many times have we done? Manchester United are interested. Manchester United are monitoring the situation. We've done it a million times, but Manchester United seemingly they are looking at it, and in addition to that, it does seem like Tel would be interested in a move to Manchester United. Now, according to Fabrizio Romano, Mathys Tel has asked for more time to make his final decision of Tottenham's agreement with Bayern Munich. Manchester United are interested in a loan and pushing on the player side in case he decides to go on loan. Now, obviously, Spurs yesterday, the news yesterday, if you didn't see it, was that Spurs have agreed a fee with Bayern Munich for, I think, what is it? It's 50 million pounds, I think it is. 50 million quid? I think it's 60 million euros, 50 million pounds. And they're leading the race. And that was something that Florian Plettenberg had said extensively yesterday, is that, yes, lots of clubs are interested and lots of clubs have spoken to his agents and his representatives, but Spurs are intensively in the talks with Bayern, and Spurs are definitely leading that race. And then it becomes a situation of, Mathys Tel, you want to leave Bayern because you want to play regularly. Do you really want to go to Spurs, though? And what it feels like, and this is just me sort of looking at it and coming to my own conclusion, but what it does feel like, doesn't it? It's like he's going, I want to leave, but yeah, is anyone else interested? Well, we've agreed a fee. We've agreed a fee with Spurs, 50 million quid. You know, you can go in. You know, you said you wanted to leave. We're happy with the price that we've worked out with this club. So yeah, you can go. You can go if you want. Who is it? Spurs. There's no other offers. There's interested parties. Yeah, there's people interested. Have they made offers? Well, no, not yet. They haven't yet made an offer. So he's really, Spurs. You should probably go to Spurs. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, give me a day. Give me a day or two. Give me a day or two. Let's see if anyone else comes in for me. I've according to my agents, there's been people that would they'll come in. So it would feel like, wasn't it? And this was something that was being reported yesterday from the Daily Mail and others, which was that he's effectively waiting to see if the interest from the likes of Manchester United, from the likes of Arsenal is concrete. And if it is, then he might be leaning towards that. Of course, when it comes to Manchester United, though, we know that it's going to be difficult. It's going to be challenging, and we're going to need movement, outgoing movement to even do a loan, let alone even a permanent transfer or anything like that. I mean, a permanent transfer hasn't even been discussed, has it, for United? I mean, when David Ornstein did his report the other day, he said that Manchester United had just asked about loan conditions for this one, not permanent, because unless something late happens with Alejandro Garnacho, unless something late does happen with him, and that Chelsea deal did go through, and suddenly we're flush with cash with a couple of days to go, which would be typical. It would look like this is going to be a situation whereby you go, okay, the Rashford one, obviously, once again, wasn't in the matchday squad last night. If he goes out on loan, depending on how that deal is put together, the salary coverage, are there any fees involved? Are there any, bonuses involved with games played, success, etc.? Then maybe Manchester United could then do a loan for Tel. But as we have seen, as we have heard, the Rashford stuff, it's loud in terms of the journalists asking Ruben Amorim a lot of questions about Marcus Rashford. It's loud in that regard. Once again, you saw in the pre-match press conference on Wednesday, Ruben Amorim gets peppered with questions about the future or lack thereof of Rashford. But in terms of actual tangible movement of him leaving in this window, it's gone quite quiet, actually. I mean, last week, 10 days ago or so, we had all of these reports, didn't we? All of these reports about his brother and his representatives doing the tour of Europe, having meetings with Milan, having meetings with Barcelona, having meetings with Juventus and what have you. And now, over the course of the last, certainly this week, we've heard nothing. Nothing of that fact. Nothing of talks happening. Nothing of think moves getting close. We just heard sort of the rumblings that he would like to move to Barcelona, but even that one, you're getting people going, but that's nowhere near happening. Barca can't afford it. Do they even want to do it? They would have to move people on. It doesn't look like they're going to move people on. So that one's really, really quiet. So with this Tel one, it feels like maybe he is somewhat stalling and he is somewhat buying his time. Quite literally, he's being asked, can I just have a bit more time to just to have a look at it, and see who else comes in. But the transfer window is funny too. There might even be clubs that we're not aware of at the moment that may end up signing Mathys Tel, as we've seen in the last couple of days. Certainly, there's been an injection of cash into this into the window, courtesy of the Saudi Pro League, with the purchase of John Duran. And that they might even add some more if they can get Matoma, which Brighton rejected that offer yesterday. But because of that, now there's money to be moved around, and there's money to be to be spent. Certainly from Villa's point of view, they're not going to sell Ollie Watkins to Arsenal, but they do have that money from the Duran deal where they're probably looking to put it into Disasi, maybe João Felix, maybe. And of course, they've been asked to be kept updated with this Tel situation. They might go over to him. And at the moment, Aston Villa's a much more exciting proposition than Spurs, towards the bottom of the league and not doing great. You got Villa in the Champions League. They're still up in the higher, elements of the Premier League. And Unai Emery's doing very well there. So that could be a good place to go, maybe. So I feel like we're building up to a photo finish when it comes to this transfer window. But I just don't know if how much Manchester United are going to participate in that. I'm still sticking with my prediction that I still think that Marcus Rashford will leave, and I do think he'll go out on loan. I don't know if it's going to be somewhere that necessarily he's been linked to yet. I still think there might be that curveball. I didn't expect that. He's gone out on loan there. I'm still saying it, even though that he's kind of pushed back on maybe going to a Premier League club. I saw there was I think it was a press conference with Graham Potter yesterday for West Ham. And they were asking, it's very difficult to get these strikers in or this attacking player in. And he's like, it's difficult. There's difficulty in the market, this, that, and the other. And I was thinking, well, I think we're going to see some Premier League clubs try and do a madness come deadline day, realize that the signing they've tried to work on for the last 6 weeks isn't going to pay off. And then they go, right, who's available then? And they go, hey, you could get Rashford on loan. He's not really a striker, but you could, bring him in. Maybe. And then United go, oh, actually, someone is actually biting on this one here. Maybe Tel. Have you signed? Have you signed for Spurs yet? No, you haven't. Well, let's see if we can do it. But obviously, the problem then would be if United did say, because if this is the problem now, isn't it? If Mathys Tel goes to Bayern Munich and goes, I know that Man United are interested in me on loan, and I want to go to Man United, make that one happen. They would be well within their rights to go, we've accepted £50 million or 60 million euros, whatever it is. We've accepted 60 million euros. Like that deal is objectively better for us. We would recommend that. And then what happens? Who wins in that situation? Because you can't force a player to sign, but at the same time, you can block deals. Go, well, we're not going to accept a loan because this is what we want. And yeah, it's very, very interesting, and I think it's even interesting to see from the Spurs fans' point of view. Like, Spurs are so bad at the moment. I don't think even the Spurs fans are like jumping for joy at it. They're like, look, we're terrible. So it'll be interesting to see indeed how that all plays out. We've already got over 1,000 people watching, over 200 likes. Let's see if we can get to 300, 400, 500. So be sure to click the like button and be sure to subscribe. Big up DJs in the chat. He says, I think Tel is a talent we cannot afford to miss out on due to the Rashford situation, and question marks over Xerxes and Rasmus. A better finishing than both. Big up Owen as always. Big up DJ. Appreciate you. Long time no see. The thing is with the Tel one, look, in terms of talent we can't miss out on, I don't know about that, but I certainly would agree with your point about there's question marks about obviously attacking positions and goals at Manchester United, isn't there? I mean, we still kind of saw that last night with the victory over FCSB in Romania. I think that it was probably one of our better performances under Ruben Amorim against a lesser team. Obviously, you could say maybe the two best performances have come against, obviously, Liverpool away at Anfield, Arsenal away at the Emirates when we knocked them out of the Cup. But those kind of games, like last night, have been games where we've been kind of struggling and it's been a bit tepid. And obviously, we have a lot of the ball, but we don't really know what to do with it. And clearly they were a team that was trying to play on transition, play on the counter-attack. And we get to sort of 2/3 up the pitch and then we're a bit unsure. Last night, we created a lot of chances. We won, obviously, 2-0. But, Garnacho hits the post. Cobby missed a sitter in the first half. On another day, could have easily been, 4, maybe even 5. The problem is on another day, as I've mentioned many a time, we're back into hypothetical FC, which we've lived in for so long. When we lose games, draw games, even win games, we go, but it could have been this. If we could have scored that, if this wasn't offside, if it wasn't this penalty given, if it wasn't this red card. So we still need to be more clinical. But you're right, you do look at those attacking options in those areas and go, who's getting the goals there? And I think maybe that's when you do look at, obviously, Kobe in the 10. He was a threat. Goal and an assist. Should have got more. I think Garnacho, to his credit, came on second half, did well. Once again, you have the debate about how clinical he is in front of goal, because he has a great chance, hits the post, gets himself in good areas. But if his end product was just like 25% more reliable or more clinical, he'd score so many goals, because he gets in good areas, but it's just that last end product in front of goal, which many people would say, well, he's 20 years old. Hopefully that will come in time. Obviously, Ahmad came on too, and just having that player that would run at people down the right-hand side was such a difference too. So there absolutely was positives in that game last night. Once again, won't get too carried away, because we've seen it. We've been fooled many a time by Manchester United with positive performances or positive results, shall we say. And then as we have seen many a time this season, as you can see, the game right there, Sunday, 12 p.m. I'll be live, 2 p.m. kickoff. If we go and lose against Palace at home, once again, all the focus is on doom and gloom. And it is quite... I saw this sort of sentiment a lot on social media when I was prepping for the show this morning. A lot of people kind of go, actually, with something like 5 wins out of our last 6. I mentioned it towards the end of the match for you last night. You look at the 2025 so far, aside from the Brighton result, which was really bad, it is like actually quite a lot of wins and draws. But we then go back into the situation that we kind of had under Erik ten Hag, wasn't it? Where there's the results on, and you look at the results and go, actually, the results are okay. They're not too bad, particularly from where we have been this season. But still, from a performance point of view, there have been some performances in some games where it has been, bloody hell, we're rubbish. We are not good. If we come up against a half-decent team, we're going to lose here. But the difference, I suppose, last night is we did well. We did well and we played well. We deserved to win that game. And it's just a case of carrying that over. But we'll see how that goes on Sunday, because I still do not trust these players. I still do not trust this team. And as I've said many a time, we think, this is going to be a bit of a corner turning moment for this team, or a corner turning moment for these players, and then we'll just be like, oh my God, they're rubbish. So yeah, and it's a very short period of time. I mean, you saw the relief from the players, and also Ruben Amorim talking after the game last night. He really, really, really hammered home the point of how important it was for automatic qualification for us, because we didn't have to play 2 extra games. He was like, that's gold dust. The wrestler, it's gold dust, because we've got, more time on the training pitch, which I desperately need. It's very rare that I have all of them on the training pitch. It's very rare that I have a full week to prepare. And I mentioned some of our better performances against Liverpool, against Arsenal. It's when he's had a full week of training and more time with the whole team on the pitch. As he mentioned, a lot of the time, for instance, they'll be in training today, but the people that are training are the people that were, on the bench. Obviously, they'll be flying back, but there'll be, there's usually people that they have to have a certain amount of days off after this, and they have to have recovery and all that kind of stuff. So it's very rare. He hasn't had a huge amount of time, is his point, basically. So having that extra time will be very, very important. Space with the super chat says, we should put last night's Garnacho and Mainoo highlights in a tape and smack Ratcliffe with it. Well, look, I saw a lot of people. Obviously, I spoke to some people on the full-time view last night, and obviously there was a huge sentiment of it on social media going, this is why Garnacho can't go. This is why Kobe can't go. See, this is why. This should be a reminder. Don't even be tempted. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I would this is always the point, I suppose, when you do the whole absolutes, hold that, because it's a version of, isn't it? It's a version of hold that. It is just a game, one game in the Europa League against FCSB. Cobby should play in the 10 on Sunday against Crystal Palace. What are we going to say if he doesn't do well in the 10 against Palace on Sunday? Because this is when we set ourselves up for the just most violent falls, and we get angry with ourselves. When if he has not even a bad game, an average game. See, I told you he can't play there. This is why you can't get gas. This is just FCSB. We just need to take a breath. need to take a breath. Don't get too carried away. He should play against Palace. Hopefully he does well. If he doesn't, that's okay too, because it's not going to be completely linear. It's not going to be completely all the way up. It's not just, it's over. Cobby, you can't play in the 10. Now he can't play anywhere. Or with Garnacho. Garnacho, he came on last night. He did well. He starts on Sunday. No, he should go. And the thing is, if he does go, he won't even go for that much money because he's rubbish now. It's only going to be 30 million. Cut it in half. Because with what they do in the match, if it's a good pass, that's 5 million on. If it's a bad pass, it's 5 million off. Is where we're at the moment. I'll be so glad when the window shuts, so it stops with that. So yeah, it's more. I wouldn't even be like, look, Jim, look at this. This is why. It's like with anything. It's the same. It's essentially what I was just saying about the team in general, isn't it? Of not going to get carried away because we know these players, we know this team, we know what we have done many a time this season, which is a good result. Hey, we've turned the corner. That turns back into we've lost, we're shit. So we'll take it game by game. It's still, I think, just get to the end of the season and give Ruben Amorim more time with the players, give him a preseason, give him, back him in the transfer market, get some of his players in, move some players out, and just, go from there. We are building up sort of a steady stream of getting some results at the moment. Let's stick with that and get to the end of the season. Looks like we're not going to get relegated. There is optimism, with the Europa League, certainly, of going, we did quite well. And obviously, as I mentioned, undefeated in European competition this season. That's not bad. And look at the teams left. Well, maybe that's our route in to the Champions League next season. Maybe that's the only chance we've got. And even that, I would go, is still, let's take it game by game. Let's see who we face in the Europa League, because with some of the teams that we could possibly face in the next round, one of them was Galatasaray, and we all collectively shit ourselves again, didn't we? I remember that last season. Don't play Andre Onana. Don't do it. So, and it looks like he actually wouldn't. It would probably be buying dear. So we'll take it steady. But I know that, we don't like steadiness. We've got over 1,200 people watching. We're currently close to 300 likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. Let's see if we can get to 300, 400, and go from there. Just some interesting things. I think Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail said people talking about ticket prices, not being happy with that. I nearly just actually threw up because I saw Sammy Luckhurst say Joel Glazer is still actively involved in Manchester United's transfer plans. He retains the right to sign off and veto deals and has been more hands-on during the club's negotiations in this transfer window. I'm good enough. I remember when the whole thing came out with that there was a 3-person committee, wasn't there? And it was, I think, Joel Glazer, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and Sir Dave Brailsford. And I remember I tweeted about it at the time, saying that still worries me that he's going to be involved in that conversation And then you got the try to do my best flexing KG impression. No, because there's 2v1 there. There's 2v1 there. You don't understand. You don't understand a majority, mate. Okay, you don't understand a majority. You don't. You don't understand how a majority works. Owen don't understand basic maths. Oh yeah, that's right. I went, what's the difference? If he's still involved, how can we still then be going, oh yeah, things have changed from a transfer point of view? You know, and I think you do yourself a disservice if you go, well, he just signs thing off. It's just he's just got his pen, and they go, Joel, we're going to do this. You happy with that? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, as long as they're involved in the conversation, as long as they're majority owners, of course. You know, this is the other part of the stuff with the Ineos, you know, criticism of them in recent weeks, and it kind of actually gets lost. And this is where I suppose we have to be careful with the Glazers too, is that, you know, there's all of this stuff about you know, about Ineos are doing these cuts, and Ineos they're cutting this and they're cutting that, and they're trying to find people and they're trying to do this and they're trying to do that. Make no mistake here, it's still none of it happens without the Glazers' approval. They're still the majority owners of the club. They still have the final say on everything. So all of these things that we're going, Ineos, you know, they've made things worse over the last years. And I hold myself in this too. They've made these decisions and these decisions are shit. It's not as if the Glazers are like, oh, our hands are tied. We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't. They're going, great. We've wanted to do these kind of cuts for years. But, you know, we knew the pushback. We're already deeply unpopular as it is. They'd storm Old Trafford again. Get games called off. Ineos, you come in, you do it. Hey, it's Ineos. They're the ones making the cuts. They're together. You know, those decisions are unilateral. It's not as if they're overpowering them, are they? So, yeah, it's not exactly a shock, is it? Yes. What a disgrace. Super chat here from Kartik says, judge the players at the end of the season instead of an on-game basis. Well, I think that's probably a fair thing to say, isn't it? You know, when we go game by game, and this goes back to like the Højlund stuff or the Xerxes stuff. That's why so many times this season we've had the back and forth of Højlund. It could be Højlund. Højlund's got to start. No, Xerxes got to start, because you know, every time they come on to do something somewhat positive, we're like, that's it. That one's good and that one's not good. And then it's just the other way around. And the real reaction is neither are, is it? Neither really are good enough for Man United. Absolutely need a striker, no doubt about it. Let's move on and talk about Casemiro. Could Casemiro have an exit from Manchester United? Well, according to Florian Plettenberg, Casemiro's departure remains a realistic scenario until deadline day. Various markets are being explored, and concrete talks with interested clubs are ongoing. AS Roma are still exploring a deal to sign Casemiro. I will not get too carried away with this one. The reason I say I will not get too carried away with it is because I feel like the Casemiro exit rumor has been the tantalizing tease for us in the last two windows, and I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it. I'm not getting sucked in once again to this Casemiro stuff, because twice last summer, right at the beginning of the summer window, Casemiro, he's on his way to Saudi. He is going to Saudi. That's the only place he'll go because his wages are so big and nobody else will pick up his contract apart from Saudi. Saudi get all of the sort of older players on the big wages. That's what's going to happen. Then, a couple of weeks go by. We're going, what's about this Casemiro to Saudi? Well, that's still going to happen. A few more weeks go by. He's involved in all of the preseason games. He's captaining Manchester United in some of the preseason games. You're going, this Casemiro deal has gone a bit quiet. Next thing you know, window come and goes. Nothing happens. Doesn't go to Saudi. This time, end of December, heading into January, Casemiro is going to Saudi Arabia. So much so that Cristiano Ronaldo himself, yes, CR7, has gone to Al Nassr. He's gone to the Saudi PIF and spoken to them and says, get me Casemiro. I want Casemiro. Bring him in. And us United fans going, it's finally happening. If Ronaldo's asked for it, it's definitely happening. Couple of days go by. Nothing happens. Eventually, you get reports from Saudi come out and go, we're not interested in Casemiro. I don't know. That's completely false. I don't know who's saying that Ronaldo's come to us and asked for Casemiro because it's not happening. And then nothing. Zero. Nothing. And once more, you think to yourself, well, why? Why would Casemiro? Casemiro, he's fine. He's relaxing. He probably would want to be playing. He came on last night for minutes, which was surprising. He gets named on the bench all the time. He's the highest paid player at Manchester United. I'm all right. I'm cool. I'm not going anywhere. You were the one that was stupid enough to give me a contract when I was past 30 and paid £70 million for me because you were desperate, because you started the season so badly under Erik ten Hag in his first year. Like, get Casemiro and Antony, spend a combined, what was it, like over 150 million quid? Do that for those two players towards the end of the window. That will be good business. So, yeah, he's not interested. And with Saudi, as you can see in the last few days with the people that they have been purchasing now, I think they're trying to get away from that perception of, oh, they just sign, the ex-greats or the greats that are on their way down. They're past 30 and they're just given big contracts, come to the Saudi Pro League and play. That's why they're signing John Duran. And again, that's why it's almost getting even more pushback now, because I've said a lot of conversation about that with Duran going, Duran, he's early 20s, isn't he? And he's done well for Aston Villa this season, and he could be a top player. Obviously, the goal he scored against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, and now he's going to Saudi. And is that a waste? And obviously, it's a lot of money, but is that the right move for him? He should be showing more ambition. He should be sticking around in Europe. And obviously, yesterday we saw the bid go in for Mitoma. But I think it was something like, was it 60 million quid, 65 million for Mitoma from Brighton. Brighton turned it down, but then you also get other people going, bloody hell, Brighton, turn that down. That's a lot of money. Whew. That's a lot of money. You could have done something with that. Is Mitoma really worth 65 million more than 65 million pounds? So they're going for those players now, the Saudi Pro League, where I think they realized that, okay, cool, you can bring in obviously the big names, the Ronaldos, Neymars, etc. And that's great. And they brought in the likes of Roberto Firmino, Riyad Mahrez, and what have you. They brought all of those people in, but whilst it got eyeballs onto the product, it also generated this perception of, they're just getting old big players and it's just kind of retirement league. And I think they want to kind of try and get away from that. They want to sign players in their prime. I mean, they saw the Neymar experiment completely fail. He's already back in Brazil, signed for Santos, hasn't he? And then they reckon he's going to try and come back to Europe at the end of that, which might just be for sort of 6 months. So, they're looking at it going, all right, we've got to get players in their prime. And obviously Casemiro is not in his prime whatsoever. So again, it feels more forced, or again, manifested. It feels really more manifested, maybe by fans, maybe by, I don't even think by Casemiro's agents, because I mean, unless Casemiro, I guess, has a desire to double his wage if he wanted to, maybe, but I just get the impression he's just happy to stick around United on the contract that he's on. And now, would he go to Roma on loan? Maybe a thing a bit like the Antony situation. When we've been talking about the Antony stuff, we've been saying, haven't we, of how do you sell him? But if he wants to play football, he can go out on loan. There can be some coverage. So maybe that's what will happen. Maybe it is a thing where Casemiro, Roma go, look, we'll take him on loan for 6 months, and you can maybe we can maybe cover 100K of that salary. I know it's not everything, but it's something. And you go, well, maybe we'll go with that. But then once again, you then get into the territory of, despite the fact that he's not playing, he is being named on the bench. So would you have to get someone in to fill his role on the bench? Or do you get people go, no, put Sekou Kone on the bench. He's ready. He's ready. Or is that the right thing to do? So this is also the other thing we have to consider, don't we? As much as we get closer to the deadline on Monday, is that with these players going out, we then go, there's this other conversation that happens when they're like, oh, we're happy for them to go, but we're going to probably need someone to actually replace them. We're going to need that extra body if they do go out. Is that, do we have that? Do we know who that is? Do we have that? I don't know. So that's something, I guess, also to consider too. As Show says, Kone is ready. Marcel confirmed it. Yes. Marcel said that in the summer. Bring Sekou Kone, get him in. I think the plan with that one is fine at the moment, isn't it? I don't think we need to go that far. We've got close to 1,400 people watching. We're 40 likes away from 400 likes. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Let's see if we can get it to 400. Let's see if we can get it to 500 with just a few days left. Only a few transfer views left. This might be one of the last ones, actually, thinking about it, because there won't be any over the weekend. And then Monday will be deadline day. It's probably like going to be 2 left after this. Then we go back to the morning view. Yeah, we go back to the other color scheme. So if you haven't already, click the like button because the transfer views are running out. They're going to be disappearing soon. Let's move on and let's talk about Kobbie Mainoo. Let's talk about Kobbie in the 10 because lots of people were talking about Kobbie in the 10, weren't they? Coming out of the game last night, including Ruben Amorim. He said, with more training time, because of course we don't have to play those 2 extra playoff games, I can understand my players better and put together Kobbie's position today. It works. We need time to understand the players. He was struggling a lot defending as a midfielder. Now you could feel he was free. This was also something that Fabrizio Romano tweeted. Ruben Amorim looks shocked. I like that freeze frame as well. The Kobbie. The Kobbie. Kobbie Mainoo was struggling a lot defending as a midfielder. Now, more as a 10, you can feel he was so free playing with the ball. Obviously, Kobbie did very well last night in the 10 position. It felt like, I guess, vindication for some because, some were saying he's play him in the 10, play him in the 10. Others were saying he's not going to work in the 10. It's not going to work out. Like I said earlier on, I will hold judgment in terms of that's it, long-term solution. We found Kobbie's role in this system. It is done because it's one thing doing it in the Europa League, in that kind of game where we do have a lot of the ball. They're not really pressing us that much. I think we had like 70% possession and, we could kind of really do what we wanted with the ball. It's another thing to do it in the Premier League where teams are pressing you. It's another thing to be doing it against a good team in the Premier League. We'll see what happens at Palace. So I think that he should, and this is also the thing, because we have obviously just a few days of a turnaround and we're playing a 2 p.m. kickoff on Sunday. Ruben Amorim might go, well, I would have wanted to play him in the 10, but actually we were playing away from home on Thursday, 8 p.m., bit of a travel. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's it's a bit too quick of a turnaround. There might be more rotation than we necessarily consider for Sunday. But if he's ready, I would like to see him continue in the 10. Hopefully, show that he can get more familiar with that role. Because this is the other part of it too. Is he even said it himself in one of the post-match interviews that he did last night, where he said, "Well, it's not like I've never played there before. He did play there in the 10 for the academy, but like at the same time, he hasn't played there for a while, so he's going to have to get used to the position. There'll be some adaptation. It's a bit like Leacher recently with left centre back. You start to feel maybe Leacher's getting a bit more comfortable with that left centre back position. We saw it last night of travelling forward, forward passes, trying to get the ball over the top, try and find the wing backs or the inside 10 on the left-hand side. So there'll be an element of still getting used to the position. But there are also just different challenges and different levels of opposition. And that's why I sort of just express caution that if the next game that he plays in the 10, let's say it's in the Prem, and he's quiet or doesn't have the best game, that doesn't necessarily mean he's not the option, but it doesn't mean that he is either. There has to be sort of continual consistent. There has to be consistency in playing him in that role, and there has to be this understanding that some games it's not going to be great, and that doesn't mean to write it off completely. That doesn't mean it's terrible, but there are different levels of opposition to face off against. You got the impression playing FCSB last night that they went into that game being 8th, right on the cusp of qualifying automatically. And I felt like they actually probably played it way too safe in the end. They thought, oh, we'll play big bad Manchester United. We'll play on the break. We play in transition anyway. They'll have a lot of the ball. We'll hit them on the break and we'll just make sure we don't lose. If we don't lose, we got a good chance of qualifying automatically. And they probably showed us way more respect than we actually deserve. Because if you watch us consistently, we're not good. If you do put a bit of pressure on us, we're not good. But they allowed us time on the ball. They allowed us time to play, which benefited us. And we needed a game like that, didn't we? We needed a game like that because we're still in that territory of trying to understand Ruben Amorim's system. We're still in that territory. These players, if they have a bit of pressure on them, then they crumble completely and they're not used to it. So if they can have a game where an opposition shows them respect and doesn't really lay a glove on them all that much, then we're like, oh, great, we'll take it. And we needed it for confidence. But it'll be a completely different test against Crystal Palace at the weekend. Palace, for us recently, have been a massive bogey team, home and away. And we're playing on a Sunday after playing on a Thursday in the Europa League, early kickoff, 2 p.m. It's still a case of, do you trust these players? Do you trust this team? And the answer at the moment is no. At the moment, it is no. But we'll have to see. I'm very, very, very cautious when it comes to United. Andy with a super chat says, "Hi Owen." Hello, Andy. Says, "I think the Tel deal depends on two things. First, Rashford going out on loan to free up funds. Bayern will only agree if we include an obligation." I think that is a very astute point there, Andy. I think that you're right. I think that there has to be movement in terms of Rashford going out on loan. And you're right, in terms of the overcoming the issue which Bayern will clearly have, which is we've agreed a fee, permanent transfer fee with Spurs of 50 million quid, 60 million euros. You've got to give us something. If we're going to accept a loan, there has to be some understanding that we're going to be still getting that. And I don't know how I feel. Just with how uncertain things are at United in the summer, I don't know how I feel about United being like, yeah, okay, we'll do a loan for Tel with an obligation for £50 million in the summer. I just, again, for me, I just want to get to the end of the season. I want to still move players on and just, again, see where we're at. I want to see where we're at and then have that money to spend. Not already have guaranteed that we're going to be, we've already confirmed we're going to spend 50 million on Tel. But, come the summer, we might realize that there's still different positions that we need to go to, or there might be different targets that become available. And I mean, we saw collectively how much we freaked out about the Dorgu fee. Bloody hell. We were going crazy, weren't we, about the Patrick Dorgu fee, going, it's going to be like 35 million. It's going to be 30 million quid, which we don't have. I mean, we were looking at it, weren't we? Like a father looks at the thermostat going, don't touch it. Don't touch it. And it does not go above this certain temperature. Think of the price. Think of the money that's going to be. Oh, my God. And in the end, actually, the fee was all right. And the reality was, even if it was like 30 million quid, in today's day and age in football, that's not that amount of money. But because we don't have any, because we know that obviously our PSR issues, and we know that we've overspent in the past and we've given too big a contracts in the past, we're now eagle-eyed watching everything going, that's too much money. Oh, that's too much. And I think that's the right mentality to have. I do. But that's also why I'd be like, I don't want to commit to £50 million for Tel right now. I'd rather we get to the end of the season and sort of assess how we go and kind of go from there. I don't want to necessarily panic on certain signings because we're desperate. That's also the other part. We are very desperate at the moment. We are desperate for signings. We are desperate for players, and desperation can lead you to end up making mistakes. I mean, look, that's why Spurs are going after Tal at the moment, isn't it? They're desperate. They see where they are in the league. They're thinking we need to do something. We need to bring people in. If I was a Spurs fan, actually, I'd be a bit furious. I'd be like, so now you want to spend all this money now, get a player in January now. Look at us. You know what I mean? And I think United, the best thing for United to do is, okay, if you can get, cheaper targets like Dorgu that can go into the team or can help the team, then that's great. That's fine. You need to obviously bring players in, and Ruben Amorim needs players to fit his system, but don't do anything too crazy. Don't do anything too rash, because again, we don't want to regret it. We don't want to regret it in 6 months' time. Going, we should have just stayed the course, waited the course, and actually just got to the summer. And then when more better players are available, when more players are available, then we could have got the right players. Because we're now into the space, aren't we? We're now into the space of whoever we sign, they have to be the right players. They have to be the right players, and they have to fit in the system the right way. And Kobbie being in the 10, that could change things too. Because if Mainoo now for the rest of the season regularly plays in the 10 and does really, really well, and we're like, actually, that's Kobbie's role. That's Kobbie's position for us moving forward. He has to start in the 10. Then suddenly, maybe you're not recruiting as much for a 10 in the summer. You're recruiting for an 8. Actually, someone needs to play next to Ugarte. We need to get an 8 to play next to Ugarte. That's what we need. We need to have that. That's the position we need to focus on, not the 10. So things can change and things are going to evolve. Obviously, there are key and critical positions that aren't going to change that much. We know we need a striker. We know we still need a right wing back, I would think. Still probably need another defender, goalkeeper. You can make an argument for any position. Let's face it, in this United team, you can make an argument for anyone. But there's still, I think, going to be positions or people that evolve, and I think that that's why I think the best thing for us to do at the moment is just to move. If we can move the players on, like Rashford, whatever, maybe Malacia as well, and then look at some loans till the end of the season. Look at Nkunku. If we could pull off a Tel without an obligation, that'd be great. But just until the summer, and then reassess, and go from there. Show says, no. We still need a 10 regardless of whether Kobbie does well there or not. Well, that's what I'm also saying, is that there's an argument to be made for any position, for any position in that United team of going, we need more in that area. But we also need to be smart because of, again, the PSR. Don't rush into things. Don't panic. And it feels like a time to panic. But actually, when you do look at the league, who we bring in, and this might seem quite of a defeatist point of view, but who we bring in isn't really, in terms of the league, going to change our trajectory that much. I mean, best case scenario, we maybe get into the top half. I wouldn't be shocked if we finish where we are right now, which is like 13th, 12th, something along those lines. In terms of the Europa League, I guess anything's possible, but you have concerns just again about these players and whether they can actually hack it or not. But if you add 1 or 2 players in, is that going to make that much of a difference right now? Maybe not. So I would say, again, just get to the end of the season. Not that the season's a write-off, and not that the manager's got a free pass, still got to win games and still got to show signs of improvement, which, to be fair, in terms of the results so far, can't argue against that. But I don't think now's the time to just panic and set ourselves back financially even further. That's also the concern, isn't it? If we committed to 50 million Tal, boom, and then come the summer and we hear, that money that we kind of spent in January, that actually did hurt us a little bit. We can't get player X, we can't do this, we can't do that. Oh, and if we do it now and we say, yeah, we'll spend the money now because in the summer we're getting rid of Casemiro, and in the summer actually permanently we're going to get rid of Rashford. That's going to happen. And as we have seen in the past with Manchester United, that ain't a guarantee, is it? I'm sure come the end of the season, we'll hear once again, hey, Casemiro is on his way to Saudi. Casemiro's on his way to Saudi. That's going to happen. Or you hear the Rashford. Rashford is people. They're on tour again. They're talking to lots of people in Italy. This is going to be a real thing. This is going to happen. So, that's what's going to happen. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. We shall see. So there you go. That's the latest transfer news for you. Or I missed a super chat actually from Kartik says, still need a new left 10 Cobby to develop as a hybrid 8. It's kind of what Show was saying, wasn't it? Still need to get positions in the 10. So, yes, there you go. That is the latest transfer news for you. What's on tap for the rest of the day? Well, of course, it's Friday, which means another episode of the Trinity podcast. I think it's episode 50. I think it's episode 50. Yes, episode 50 coming up today. Flex, KG, and myself. In addition to that, tomorrow we'll have a match previewing the game at Old Trafford between Manchester United and Crystal Palace. Of course, as I said, that's going to be a 2 p.m. kickoff, as you can see right there. I'll be live at 12 p.m. I'll be tired. It's going to be me and KG, that comedian, on Sunday. And we're doing Royal Rumble the night before on my channel, Wrestling News 36555. So we'll put the link in the chat. I think it's in the video description. It's not super late as it usually would be. So starts at 11, 10:45 start on my channel, KG and myself. So we'll probably be finishing at what? Like 2-ish, 2:30, maybe. So there will be tiredness. There will be tiredness next day, but we'll get through it together. So be sure to join KG and myself on Sunday. And before then, you never know. We might be back with some transfer news, some transfer updates. Something surprising might happen. After all of this, I've been chatting this morning. Suddenly, Mathys Tel to Manchester United. Here we go. I'll be going live for the algorithm. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Click the notification bell. You'll be notified when a new video goes up or we go live at a moment's notice. Anyway, actually, I've got to end the show on a sad note. This is a devastating story. I didn't realize this. Maybe we don't watch the Royal Rumble. Maybe we don't. I was under the impression. Damn. I thought. Damn. I thought it was. I thought it was. You mean to tell me The Undertaker isn't dead? Wait. Kane and The Undertaker aren't related? Oh, man. Well, I'm going to have to go. I got some very big decisions to make regarding the future of my channel. Maybe that's what I'll do a video. It's not real, folks. I found out. Damn. Well, it was a sad note to end on, wasn't it, folks? It was a sad note that. I'm only joking. We'll be live tomorrow for the Royal Rumble, KG and myself. Maybe I'll have less energy on that stream, knowing that the whole thing's a fraud. But we'll still enjoy it. It's still real to me, damn it. Have a good one. I'm out of here. Peace.